concept of man of dignity, jihad, and so on. Brothers and sisters, now we move to the session of Q&A. I received grievances from our young people when we organized program last 2 days in International Institute of Advanced Islamic Studies that our young people didn't have any chance to pose a question or comment because the seniors dominate the discussion. So, as a moderator, I will allow and give a priority first to our young people first to pose any comment, questions, and so on. And also, we give a priority to our non-Muslim fellows. I recognize the presence of our friends, our best friends, Professor Suresh from Friendship Group for Interfaith Services. So, for that, we have half an hour to have Q&A. So, please identify yourself and your affiliates body, if any. Please keep it brief and short. Please, welcome.
Excuse me, Assalamualaikum. I'd like to ask Prof. Tariq about the concern about the rising on the study of pluralism. So how far is Islamic perspective in thinking and in conjunction of this pluralism idea whereby all religions can sit together, can share together? Does it really harm our faith, or it is another new platform for us to share more and more common playground for Islam to the non-Muslim world context? Thank you.
Can I have your name, sir?
Ter.
Ter. Okay. Okay. We take a second question, if any. Yeah, please. And to save the time, please go straight away to the mic. Those who want to pose a
Assalamualaikum
question.
warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name's Oradi Qasem. I'm from Cambodia. Yes, for my question, I want to ask Ustaz. I want to show my that depend on I search about the task. The Muslim country in the world there are 54. Why a lot of Muslim country cannot match like the bloc? Because I see the European Union, they can make the bloc, and help the powerful. Why Muslim country cannot do like this? What is the reason? And how to become the Muslim mean that has more powers in the world? What we should to do? I focus for the government and also for the youth too. How they do? So thank you.
Can you repeat your questions because Prof cannot take your point?
Okay. For my brief question, I want to ask you like that. Why that Muslim country in the world cannot collect or cannot join, become like the European Union? Okay.
Why Muslim cannot join the European Union, you mean?
Yeah.
Okay,
because
thanks.
the European Union, they are very powerful in the world now.
Okay.
Mean that they match the power.
Thank you very much, our friends from Cambodia.
Finish. Okay.
Yeah, thanks. Please, next. Can we have next?
Okay, my name is Abdul Hafiz. Okay, Professor, I'll ask you about, earlier you mentioned about the jihads against the culture and to achieve equality between men and women. So my question here is the position of woman as a leader. Can a woman be, let's say, not just the state minister and even the prime minister of a country, means the highest leader of a country? Can a woman be that, the equality? That's my questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Can we have the red shirt guy? Yeah, please.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. The name is Zafri. Regarding the Palestinian issue, as Muslims, the Palestinian issue is central in most of our hearts. It has been things that we've been seeing, the atrocities occurring almost on a daily basis. And what we have been seeing is a lot of anger, a lot of frustration, humiliation amongst us. and the double standards of the West and the silence of our leaders. So with this circulating anger and frustration, we became, this is what has been selling to us in terms of dealing with this issue. So my question is, how do we handle this in terms of balance? We don't want this anger to be overwhelming to an extent. We also commit atrocities, and how do we balance it out to make something constructive out of it?
Okay, we have the last one and the two gentlemen in front of. Okay.
Assalamualaikum. I'm Muhammad bin Sheikh Ibrahim. So, Professor, here in Malaysia we have Islamic Party. The party's history is go all the way back, but there's one concept conceived circa after the Iranian Revolution, which is kepimpinan ulama, loosely translated as leadership by Islamic scholars for political movement. So, in a sense, it's like a wilayatul faqih from the Iranian Shia. So, what your take on that? Thank you.
Okay.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. My name is Abdul Muhammad Ahmed, and I'm from Somalia. I would like to ask
a little bit louder, brother.
Yeah, I said my name is Abdul Muhammad Ahmed, and I'm from Somalia. And I would like to ask the Honorable Professor Tayyip Ramadan. In my country, we have a kind of extremism. For example, can you hear me? Yeah. We have a kind of extremism, a typical like Boko Haram. We call it. They call themselves Al-Shabaab, and they actually the latest statistics of my country says that more than 75% is youth, and there is this groupies who are extremists. They are using this youth to execute their agendas, and such as explosions and assassinations. My question is, how as a youth can the Honorable Professor give as a suggestion and a recommendation as a youth, how can we overcome such problems that since we are being used? Is there, I'm saying that can the Professor give us a suggestion how can we overcome about these problems? Thank you.
Can I give the floor first to our seniors? Yeah, please.
بسم الله. اسمح لي أتكلم باللغة العربية.
تفضل.
أخي الكريم، محاضرتك ممتازة جيدة ونحتاجه كشباب، لكن أريد أن أسأل سؤالا وأدخل مداخلة صغيرة. السؤال: الله سبحانه وتعالى يقول: وكذلك جعلناكم أمة وسطا. هذه الوسطية هي المطلوبة في ظل ما يحدث من قتل المسلمين في كل مكان، فكيف للشباب الثبات على ذلك؟ الآخرين يريدون الانتقام وردة الفعل، ونحن الله يريد لنا أن نكون في نقطة الوسط. الأمر الثاني، حبذا لو يعني في الآيتين الكريمتين في سورة الممتحنة: لا ينهاكم الله على الذين لم يقاتلوكم في الدين ولم يخرجوكم من دياركم. في هاتين الآيتين كانت مهم جدا أن تستشهد بهما لما فيهما فائدة للشباب في معرفة من نقاتل ومن لا نقاتل في عملية الجهادية. وبارك الله فيه وجزاكم الله خير.
Assalamu alaikum. Rashidujaman from Bangladesh, Chairman Sawab, Social Agency for Welfare and Advancement in Bangladesh, and Council Member, Union of the NGOs of the Islamic World. I'm really very pleased to hear your thought-provoking speeches, but I have a question, and I want to know, actually, your speech, how to remove the misinterpretation and mispropaganda against Islam. Actually, is there any last limit or ending point to reply these questions, the points of mispropagation? Rather, cannot we take initiatives to highlight Islam and to interpret Islam positively? We are in defensive side. Rather, we should take initiatives to propagate Islam to enlighten the whole world positively. If we can do this, probably this could be the better option and best way. And another question, cannot we take initiatives to reply the questions positively in an integrated way, comprehensive way, all over the world? Is there any association? And we should have a plan, long-term plan to remove this sort of mispropagation and propaganda. Thank you.
Okay, can we have last three person? Yeah. Wait.
Should I go? Should I ask my speech? Question?
Yeah.
Okay. Assalamu alaikum. My question to Sir Tariq Ramadan is: we, the Muslim youth, are now ready. So please tell us, how can we make ourselves more stronger to fight these issues and to defeat all the conspiracies? Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum.
By the way, we need one reps from our women's side. Okay. Can we have last three? Another guy in front. Okay, last two.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. My name is Yasmin Omercic. I'm from Bosnia. I'm a student in International Islamic University, Malaysia, IIUM. I would like to start first with the hadith, which we all know. كُلُّكُمْ رَاعٍ وَكُلُّكُمْ مَسْئُولٌ عَنْ رَاعِيَتِهِ. All of you are shepherds and all of you are responsible for your flock. And I would like to relate this to one of the sections of a writer, Western writer. Her name is Anne-Marie Schimmel. She has written in a book one section, The Path to Sufism. One of them is that once a person goes to Sufism is that there are 3 steps and I think 3 years. So one of those years is that we should go and serve the community and serve humanity. And I would like to ask and suggest that maybe our contemporary leaders, but not only on the national level, but also on the local levels and cantonal levels, shall be focused in participating and reading more about this to maybe break down their self-importance as well as to break down their self-importance and actualization, I mean, of some kind of humbleness in order to serve the community. And what is your opinion to this? And it can be related also to the contemporary clientelism and patronage in all the systems, economic, politic, religious, and so on. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Can we have the woman first?
I'm Ita from Indonesia. I want to ask Mr. Tariq Ramadan. The main idea that I get is jihad is, you know, when you have to struggle and when you have to resist in a certain condition. So what I want to ask is, how do I know whether I will have to resist or I have to struggle? Yes, I know that I have a common sense to choose whether to resist or to struggle, but sometimes we don't know what is the best thing to do. So should we consult or should we ask advice from someone? And should it mean to be consistent? If I want to resist, then just resist all the time, or if I want to struggle, just struggle all the time. And what your opinion about my questions? Thank you.
Okay, last two at the back and in front. Okay, in front first.
Assalamu alaikum. I'm from Bangladesh. I'm Shafiul Alam Shahin. I want to say something about OIC. When the judicial killing occurred in Bangladesh, but that time OIC remained silent. Why this? And when the border killing occurred by India to Bangladeshi people, that time OIC is silent. But why this? So this is my question about OIC. So OIC is the only one representative of Islamic world. But when occurred something against Islamic people or against Islamic world, that time, maximum time, OIC remains silent. Why?
The question is why, eh? Okay, thanks.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Okay.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I'm Azri from Singapore. Just want to ask a very important question. What is your opinion about the rise of Islamic liberal ideology and how it affects the interpretation and understanding of Islam as rahmatan lil alamin? Thank you.
Okay, thank you. We have the last one, the parliament's guy. YB Samsul, please.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you, Dr. Tariq. I just have a very simple question. What is your view on the implementation of hudud in the light of Islam, rahmatul lil alamin? You once put a moratorium on the Islamic practice of stoning women for adultery that led to a confrontation with Nicolas Sarkozy. And how do you weigh the balance between reason and revelation? Is that reason first, revelation second, or revelation first, reason second? I mean, that's very important for us to know. Thank you very much.
I'm sorry, I'm afraid that I can't allow any question more, except one from Datuk Jega. Please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Dr. Tariq, I think, let me just make a statement first. I think if everybody in the world, Muslims and non-Muslims, follow what you said today, we'll have paradise on earth, okay? It's an incredible statement you made, and I'm a Hindu by birth. I'm an interfaith man. I'm one of the founders of the Friendship Group for Interreligious Service. I'm working with ABIM for the last 15 years on interfaith. And I must tell you one more thing. If everybody in the world is like ABIM members, the world will be a very peaceful place, okay? It's a fantastic group, the ABIM people. Okay? Now, my question is this, sir. The question is this. You have actually talking to a group of basically converted people, people who seem to have same ideals as you have, the expression. But have you addressed these issues to those who are who are actually doing the wrong things, okay? The one thing to talk to the right people. What about those who are doing the wrong things, okay, around the world? Are they listening to you, sir? They should listen to you, because this is an incredible voice coming through. And most of my ABIM friends also speak like that, okay? Second thing is this, forget about the world. In Malaysia itself, sir, have you talked to all the Muslim organizations in Malaysia, whoever they are, government, non-government, JAKIM, the Pakasa, Isama, all these people, have you spoken to them? And firstly, are they prepared to listen to you? And number two, can you help them, sir, to understand the true perception of Islam, which 100%, I've read the Quran, by the way, and I read the Quran, and I think Quran is an incredible booklet, okay, a fantastic, fantastic message of God. But when I see what's happening around the world, I ask myself, hey, which book are they using, Which book are these guys using? I mean, the Quran is fantastic. So what is wrong, sir? This is the thing. Can the voice of reason go out and speak louder and louder to the world? And sir, you can't do it alone, okay? Please get our young guys, ABIM and all these people whom we know, go out and join you in this crusade. It's a crusade, for goodness, okay? Thank you, sir.
Okay, let Professor address all those questions first. If we left, we will open for the second floor, inshallah.
Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Lots of questions. I have 17. So I don't think you will have a second round. Unfortunately, for those who are expecting or waiting for that. Look, let me try to address all the questions as quickly as possible and trying to be to the point. About the situation of our societies today and pluralism. I refer to what happened in Medina at the beginning with the presence of the Jews and the Christians and the fact that the Prophet ﷺ from the very beginning integrated them within the community, the Ummat al-Muslimin in Medina at the beginning. Now we are facing societies where we have pluralism and we have people who are atheists, who are agnostics and other religions. Willing it or not, that's the reality that we have, and we have to come back to our principles, and we have to be respectful towards pluralism, because these are our principles. And we need also to be quite clear on two, I'm in the West, and I live in countries where I'm coming back to those two main principles that we have to stress on or to focus on. The first one is freedom of conscience, and the second is freedom of worship. Now, we are asking this as Western citizens, saying these are indisputable principles. You have to respect the conscience of the people, what they believe, and they have to respect their worship when they want to practice. How come we come to Muslim majority countries and we are completely in contradiction with these principles? I'm sorry to say that some of your fellow citizens in this country who are not Muslims are facing discriminations, and they are facing injustices. They are facing these stigmatizations on the ground. And you can't tell me that this is Islamic. You cannot justify this in the name of Islam. So you can't blame the West, and then we come to ourselves in Muslim majority countries. I see things in Muslim majority countries, in my own countries of origin, Egypt, or in the Gulf states. This is not our message as Muslims. So let us be consistent as well, and we have to be self-critical. So you want, some they want, laws against blasphemy there, less freedom there. And we come to our country, and if you say something, look what happened in Pakistan about this woman who spoke about, and we are not even sure that she said something about the Prophet. And even if she said something, what we have is just unacceptable from an Islamic viewpoint. We don't treat people like this. So now, if you want to be good Muslims, instead of preventing people from believing, you become better believer. You show how it is. Don't be scared of the people who are not Muslims. Be scared, be afraid, be worried about our own lack of consistency. The Muslims, kuntu khayra ummatin ukhrijat linnas. And then what was said, the verse that was quoted here, is about al-wasatiyya. And this is the importance and وَجَعَلْنَاكُمْ أُمَّةً وَسَطًا لِتَكُونُوا شُهَدَاءَ عَلَى النَّاسِ. Al-wasatiyya is for you to bear, to witness to the message before human beings. وَكَذَلِكَ جَعَلْنَاكُمْ أُمَّةً وَسَطًا لِتَكُونُوا شُهَدَاءَ عَلَى النَّاسِ means what? You have to bear witness to your message. Be witnesses of your message. Be consistent with your message. This is the best way to deal with pluralism, not to prevent the people from believing, not to prevent people from thinking, not to prevent people from worshipping. That's not us. This is pure contradiction. And we want to change the world. We are telling the West there is double standard. Okay, come to the Muslims today. I'm sorry to tell you, we have double standards. We have discrepancies. We have contradictions. You can't just blame the people around. Come to us. Come to ourselves. And I'm sorry to tell you that some people in this country, even I met with people who are not Muslims in Malaysia, they are saying, I feel that I am a second-class citizen in this country. Exactly what we have in France or in Britain or in Germany with Muslims saying, I have the feeling that I am a second-class citizen. Instead of blaming the practices of the others, let us look at our own contradictions and measure our practices with our values. And I wrote this in a book that is even not read by the people, The Quest for Meaning, which developing a philosophy of pluralism, which is how do we deal with pluralism? And we have to be consistent. We are not. And I'm challenging you. And if any one of you comes to me now by saying that I said something Islamic, come now and say it. Don't wait for me to leave the country to say, oh, Tariq Ramadan is almost a kafir and is almost a murtad. Now you laugh at it. I experienced this. I experienced people who don't come to me to challenge me straight away with ayat Qur'aniyya, with al-adillah. Come and tell me if what I'm saying is wrong. If now you prove to me that what I'm saying is wrong, straight away I will ask for your forgiveness and take my words. But if you don't do this, now, never do it when I'm not here. That's the way you treat your guest. No, that's the way you treat your brother. Not a guest, by the way. I'm at home here, isn't it? I should feel at home. No, but I'm serious about that. That's a very serious thing about the way we deal with pluralism and being critical with our way we deal with people of other faiths in our countries. Muslim majority countries and in your country. And I can tell you something which is real. There are very positive things in Malaysia, but you have things that you have to remove, and there are things that you have to transform, and you have to go to a real reform in this country if you want to be serious about your values. And it's not only about, corruption coming from the state, it's contradictions coming from citizens. I'm not talking about the state, I'm not talking about power, I'm talking about daily life. I'm talking about the way you deal with people around mosques and around your places at the job market and the job in every profession. The second was about the Muslim state and why they don't unite. Look, the world is the way it is. And you can now again, and this is a problem, I keep on repeating this, and I want you to understand that because we feel that we are helpless with our present, we turn our face and our mind towards the past by idealizing the past and the future by hoping for a better future. And it means that we are justifying our own passivity. Now, it's not going to happen. You are not going to have a unity of all the Muslims because even now, look, just go in the Middle East, come here in Asia and Southeast Asia, you will see that many countries have much more relation with the West than relation among themselves. Because they think that their interest, so we don't have this today, it's not going to happen. And this type of, for example, just in the Gulf, just look at these very small states and they are struggling and you have people supporting all of them and pushing them to struggle among themselves. The United States of America are supporting Saudi Arabia and they are supporting Qatar and they are pushing them to struggle and they look at it. And we, naive, we really think that there is something very deep behind that. That's its economic interests. So there are things that we need to get and say, okay, this unity is a dream that is not going to happen. Let us try to find states, leaders who can unite on principles and try to find a way. And we can see now that some of the states are new actors in the region. For example, Turkey with what is happening in Asia, what is happening in the Middle East, a new actor. China is a new actor, Russia, India, and then there are other countries, even Brazil and Latin American countries that we are sometimes neglecting. Don't forget them because they have something to give in the whole new structure that we have or the new dynamics that we have in our world. So we need to have a deeper view about how do we deal with this and not only think that our allies are only the Muslim majority countries or the so-called Muslim societies. It's not going to work like that. It's not going to work like that. You have other partners that we have to think about and think about balancing power. But this unity or this federation, the last one who had this in mind, even after Gaddafi, he was talking about that. I don't know if you remember, he has this dream of uniting the Arabs and even the African. He was a dictator. He was killing his own people, and he has this dream. He had this dream. But you also had Erbakan in Turkey who tried to have this D8 versus the G8. And it didn't work. At the end, these are contradictory interests. And we have to think about a new way of dealing with this. But stop dreaming unity. Now try to manage our differences and to deal with this at the local level as well as the international level. You were talking about is it possible for a woman to be a leader of the country? All the scholars, they were referring to one hadith that is saying that a country is not going to succeed when a woman is going to lead the country. And they keep on repeating this. And now we had scholars who were dealing with the hadith. Abu Bakr, who is one of the transmitters, is perceived as a weak transmitter. So some are even challenging the highest authenticity of that. And I don't see any problem for a woman to be a leader as long as she has the capacity to do so. And the capacity from an Islamic viewpoint when you are a political leader is competence, integrity, and commitment. You come back to the people. You follow what the people are expecting. men and women. Now, if you have a problem with even a woman being the leader of the party or being elected somewhere, and you keep on coming with this very narrow understanding of there is something that I know. Man or woman is wrong to have a dictator in power. That's for sure is haram. Now, as for a woman who has the capacity, you have even it in the Quran with the Queen of Saba. You have this. So stop dealing with the gender by being exclusive. Deal with the capacity and come to what scholars said much before. Muhammad al-Ghazali was, he started talking about this 50 years ago by saying it's a very narrow understanding of our religion. Deal with competence. The problem that we have that can we have a woman as competent as man in power? With what we see with men, I think they can. Because the men are not doing well. So, from a legal perspective, even with the hadith that is even quoted, the highest authenticity is not acquired on this, and Abu Bakr is considered as, and there are many, many discussions around the hadith that you can find in the Ulum al-Hadith. So, a very good question about atrocities are done and people are frustrated. How do we deal with the frustration of our young sisters and brothers where we are? The first, it's to understand that there is a reality. There is something that we have to consider. Frustration is a reality for many young brothers and sisters, many young Muslims. That's the reality. You have to acknowledge this. Don't deny that they are frustrated. Don't deny that they don't feel, they feel that there is no hope in the society. We start by acknowledging. We understand what you are experiencing. But now we need to deal with what is the answer to your frustration. It's not with this black and white. And this is why some Salafi, the mindset of the Salafi, the dogmatic mind sometimes is saying, we are right, it means that you are wrong. So building on this binary vision, this polarization between the right is on our side, so you are wrong. So in fact, you build on this that you can kill the other, and then you go from dogmatic mind to violent acts. This is where we have to be involved. We need to be at the grassroots level. We need to be involved with the people. It's a question of education. We need much more institutions that are professional institutions dealing with our young brothers and sisters. We are giving up on this. Even an organization like ABIM and others around the world, we were much more on the ground at the grassroots level educating people than what we are now. And the Salafi now are taking over and they have the money to do this. We have to be on the ground. We have to be close to the people. We have to listen to the frustration, acknowledge that there is something right in the way of being frustrated. Now we have to come with, how do you deal with this? And it means we have to give to our young a sense of hope with a sense of value, that you have something to give, that you can do something in your society at the local level. And this is right that this is something I'm always calling to national movements of local initiatives. We need to be involved at the local level. We need to be present. And one of the big criticisms that I just read again, coming from my great uncle, and many people were criticizing him because he had very specific views in Islam, Gamal al-Banna, rahimahullah. I didn't agree with many views that he had, but I respected the man. He was a man of principle, very strict with his own person, with his principle. He was challenging many of the Muslim views on many things, and many of the questions that he was putting were right. He was putting his finger on our contradictions in a way which was very courageous. But he was saying something about the Islamic movement and Muslims around the world, saying, you know what, at the end, what started to be serving the people, educating the people, is now becoming movements of petit bourgeois, getting the money and trying to find the positions. And he's not wrong. serving, being at the grassroots, dealing with people, educating. Don't let the space open to literalists, dogmatic minds to take over and to build this mindset that is all going to have, it's going to have an impact on all of us. This is why we have to reconcile ourselves with popular education, respecting the people, respecting the sense of, or the lack of, the sense that there is a lack of dignity and respect. And we have to do this. The main problem that we have in many countries, even here, is no jobs, no opportunities, no freedom. In the West, in many countries, if you are an African American in the States, the situation in the inner cities, the problem is not Islamic, the problem is socio-economic. The same in the suburbs in France. Now, because the governments, they don't know what to do with it, they are Islamizing the problem. They say it's Islam. It has nothing to do with Islam. It has to do with opportunity. It has to do with job. It has to do with respect of the people. So we need to come with this understanding that we have to serve much more at the local level. Now, it's the same with Somalia and the Shabab and how to... once again, I think that we need two things. We need to serve, to educate, but we need also to come with a political voice, is also to challenge the way they deal with politics, but not only versus the violent extremism, is also versus the establishment, the people who were corrupt, who were also the reasons why they are taking over, and who is supporting the corrupt establishment. So we need two things, serving on social issues and being critical on the political side with a deep understanding of Islam when it comes to Islamic issues. We should not only respond through Islamic reference. We should stop always referring to Islam in things that have nothing to do with Islam. They have to do with social justice. They have to do with economic balance, economic equality. These are things that are important. So we need to have a multi-dimensional strategy, educating at the grassroots level, challenging at the political level. And when it comes to Islam, to be clear on the principles that we stand for and how we are going to deal with that. So the question that was also in al-Wasatiyya in Arabic was about, is it needed now when we are facing first these pressures that are coming from everywhere and at the same time violent extremists? And I would say, al-Wasatiyya is not a choice. Al-Wasatiyya is the only way forward. وَكَذَلِكَ جَعَلْنَاكُمْ أُمَّةً وَسَطًا means we have no choice. We have to stick to the principles of balance, equality, and justice. No way. You cannot accept any extremism here. And in these times where you see people nurturing and pushing, some are pushing us towards extremism. And we have to be clear, we'll never accept to be what you want us to be. We decide who we are out of our principles. We are subject of our history. We are not object of your policies. No, we are not. So Wasatiyya is a reference, a needed reference everywhere in the way we deal with the text, in the way we deal with the political issues, in the way we deal with our people. And then referring to the verses that are coming, لا ينهاكم عن الذين لم يقاتلوكم في الدين ولا so this is a very important reference here, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, there are differences who you have to struggle against and who you have to understand are your friends, and so and it's and تقسطوا تبروهم تقسطوا إليهم. البر here has to do with something which has to do with your heart, and al-qist has to do with your mind. So with people who are not attacking you for the sake of your religion, or are not targeting you as human beings, you should be open to them with your mind and with your heart. And then with the people who are oppressing you, you resist. Now this is where we have to be clear. We should not confuse the people. We should know who are our enemies within and outside. And I think that this is something which is important. Very quickly about the question in Bangladesh about the initiatives to integrate and to propagate. You know, yes, we should not be on the defensive, because you were saying we should respond, and we have to be active and not reactive. That's true, and I agree with this. Let me just say that there are multiple ways. Okay, I think that you can give me maybe a bit more. Very quickly, I will try to be quick. So I think that we need to have multiple ways to respond. We need to have a way of explaining Islam more. But can I tell you something which is important, and especially for people living in Asia and Southeast Asia and this region? How Islam arrived here? How did Islam be, how was it accepted in Southeast Asia? Only by people saying, I'm Muslim, this is Islam, understand Islam? No. People were less talking about Islam and more experiencing Islam in their daily life. So one of the ways is now us to be consistent with our values and to promote talk less about Islam and be better Muslims. That's the starting point of everything. We have conferences, lectures after lectures. Islam is this, Islam is that. But where are the Muslims? You know, the symbol, and take it as it is, because on Facebook official, and I talked about this yesterday, I was criticized because I put the picture of how do we, you know, when you enter the mosque, the way we put your shoes before and the way you have to stand. We know that Allah likes our lines to be straight. But when you go outside and you see the way we are treating our shoes is a mess at the entrance of the mosque, and that's the problem. The discrepancy between the way we enter the mosque with, oh, I am a Muslim. And we, just in front of the mosque, we are forgetting the principle. That's not the right way of doing things. We come to pray in line to know how to put our shoes before, in order, with consistency. You want to see the contradictions of the Muslim? Enter a mosque. You want to see the consistency of the Muslim? And you are better in this than the Arab world. Look at some of the mosques between the spaces for women and the spaces for men. And come to me now and tell me we don't have a problem. While the daughter of the Prophet ﷺ was entering the mosque during the morning, speaking within the mosque, and he was telling to all the people, have you heard her? The Prophet ﷺ telling the men, have you heard what she said? And now, 15 centuries later, we ask ourselves if we can have a space for women. That's the reality of us. Contradictions over contradictions, and what we do, we sit down. The West doesn't like us. In fact, we don't respect ourselves. That's the problem. So that's for this one. I will skip the positive way to respond to questions. Yes, this is also a very important point, to remain positive, and the positive way of responding to questions. What I say sometimes, sometimes what I do with some of the questions, I question the questions. And say, I have a problem with your question. So this is why I think it's also important to be critical with the way, because the people are asking you questions from a specific angle. So help the people to know from where they are asking the question. Why are you asking me this question? So very often when you have in the West, are you first a British or a Muslim? And some Muslims, they want to respond, say, I'm sorry, silly question. That's a silly question. And I come with the answer of Amartya Sen. We were together in Greece, and he said this to me once. He said, you can be two things at the same time, a poet and a vegetarian. It's possible. If you are asked to eat, that's not the time to say you are a poet. You are a vegetarian. And in circles of poets, you are not going to say you are a vegetarian, you are a poet. It depends on the context, you are first something. So if you deal with the society, I am a Malaysian. If I deal with my death, I am a Muslim. Nothing wrong with this. Silly question. You have another one? We have to question the question of the people. Don't be trapped by the question, because the question is pushing you into something which is being on the defensive. So how the Muslims could be more stronger, I think that I said many things about this all over. What you said about serving the local community and the Sufi tradition, and leaders having less ego and serving more, I think it's important. But this is not only coming from the Sufi tradition, it comes from our deep understanding of Islam. And this is why we need scholars to understand that the true scholar is the one serving the community. The true leader is serving the people who are followers, and not ask. And for example, even in the Sufi tradition now, let me tell you something. One of the main problems that we have with many of our brothers now is a crisis of identity. They are so lost that they end up idealizing the sheikh. They want somebody to think for them. They think by proxy. We have Muslims today, they give all the authority to somebody to think for him or for her. Stop with this. Can't you remember that even if you ask for a fatwa to a sheikh, you go to him and now to her, and if he or she gives you an opinion, you have the duty to ask him or her, where do you come with this? What are your sources? Give me the adilla, give me the evidence, meaning I have a critical mind. I'm not going to follow you blindly, even if I like you. And moreover, if I like you, I have the right to ask the question. And no scholar could tell you, you are an ignorant, just follow what I'm saying. A scholar who is telling to his follower, you are ignorant, is not a scholar. Because he's not serving the knowledge. That's the point. We have a problem in the way we deal with our authority, in the Sufi circles, in our organizations. There is no space for critical mind, no space for questions, no space for serving. Too much ego, not enough humility in the way we deal with that. That's the point. But once again, you can sit down and wait for a humble leader to come. That's not going to happen like this. It's our commitment. It's the way we choose the people, the way we want the people to be. And I think that this is our commitment. You know, there is something which is very true in politics, very true about leadership. You have what you deserve. And if you are not happy with your leadership, ask the followers. Stop only talking about the leaders. Sheikh Al-Qaradawi was reminding us once that he heard my father saying something about, you know, he kept on talking and talking for 30 years. And somebody in the room was telling him, look, that's very good. You have been talking about the same thing for 20 years. Now I'm even doing more than my father. I'm now reaching 30 years, repeating the same thing. I say, are you not fed up? What have changed? What have you changed? And he looked at him and said, that's fine. I kept on repeating the things for 20 years. And you have been listening to them for 20 years. What have you done? Because we are a community of listeners. A community of passive consumers of lectures. And we think it's halal because it's halal YouTube now. Halal YouTube is I'm listening to talks on YouTube. That's fine. But you are not building a community on YouTube. Facebook is not where you are going to get your community. It's by reading, by being committed, by to take time, to have this sense of sacrifice for the community. The human community, serving humanity. Al-Bayhaqi is the hadith is sahih. The best among you is the best for humanity. Humanity, rahmatan lil alameen. So I think that this is an important point. And there are 3 questions that I want really to address quickly because they were very important. The one is, how do I know? The question that the sister asked is a very important one. There are levels. And there are things that you need to understand that you don't need a mufti or a sheikh to give you the answer. This is where you have to build your autonomous decision in fields that you know that you have to struggle and to resist. Things that have to do with your life, things that have to do with your neighborhood, when it comes to injustice, racism, you have to go for it. And Now, how it's going to be done, the strategy, you can talk with brothers and sisters and people, but the fact that you have to resist, this is a must. Now you have some other things when it comes to politics. Don't deal with human affairs only by looking to somebody who's going to give you a fatwa. We have to stop this obsession. We need a legal opinion. Give me a fatwa. There are fields where these are opinions and strategies have nothing to do with fatwa. Muslims are very quick to go for this. You know, in the suburbs in France, the French president Sarkozy asked one of the Muslim organizations to issue a fatwa about the fact that violence was wrong in the suburbs. What is the relationship with this violence and Islam? They were violent and they were demonstrating as French citizens are doing when they are not happy with the country and the government. We need to understand that, I was joking about this. I want to issue a fatwa about the fact that we don't always need a fatwa for things. A fatwa against this hypertrophy of fatawa. As if because a fatwa is thinking by proxy again. No, as to the field, you have to deal with people who are around you, get the opinions, advice, and then you decide for yourself, can I do this, should I do this, how I have to deal with it, and this has to do with this human affairs, this has to do with strategies, and it's not always referring, you are not going to get an opinion about the methodology. You can get an opinion about is it right, for example, the resistance or armed resistance to some oppression? Yes, this is something that where here you have to analyze. And it's not only religious, it's political. You need to have this. So how do you have to, when you feel that you are not equipped, you seek advice. You try to find the people who can help you about this. Why this silence? I think that the whole discussion today was about the fact that we have to break the silence and that the silent majority is wrong by definition, because we can't be silent in these days and in this situation. How do we deal with the Islamic liberal ideology? Once again, we know, but it's not new, by the way. Now it's more known because it's exposed. But we have people who are going to come with liberal views, and I'm doing with the liberal views, because liberal views are not bad in themselves. It depends if they are promoting or respecting the principles or not. But at the end of the day, we should engage. And I have people who present themselves as ex-Muslims, and people who present themselves as progressive Muslims. And I can see in some of the opinions, for example, the way they deal with our principles is problematic. That's fine. But I'm always remembering the way the Prophet ﷺ was with the people. He was looking at all the people and he was taking from everybody the positive side of his character and his presence. And some of the questions the liberals are putting are very important. You cannot deny that they are right in some of the questions that they have. Take these questions and challenge them. Come with a discussion. Don't deny that they have a point. When you have somebody who say, I am an ex-Muslim, and do you know why I'm an ex-Muslim? The way I was treated in my family, the way I had no dignity, the way they were supporting my brother and discriminate me, made me somebody who doesn't want to listen to you. She has a point. In our families, the way we are educated men is not the way we are educating women. And this had an impact. So you might be in disagreement as to the answers, but you cannot deny the legitimacy of the question. You can't. So this is why we have to come and don't try to. Now you have people also in the name of liberal Islam, they are supporting think tanks and they are supporting governments. Also we have to challenge them. I don't have a problem with the question of Ayani Shiali in the States, except that she was supporting the far-right party and she's a racist. That's the point. And I'm going to challenge her by saying, some of your questions are good, I take them. Your political position is unacceptable. I will struggle against you. But you understand that you are putting yourself in a situation of power, not on the defensive, or not by saying, I don't want to listen to you. I'm ready. I'm ready for the struggle. Because I know from where you speak and where you try, who you are supporting. This neocon and the Tea Party in the States, for example. So we have to challenge that. And the last question about the hudud. Aywa. Because I was not here, and some groups were using my take by saying this is the position of Tariq Ramadan. And you know the way you put it, you know, when I'm dealing with the West, Western journalists, or journalists around the world, I'm trying to be very precise with the words that I'm using, and very precise with what I'm saying. And what you just said with your question in Malaysia is worrying. Why? Because in fact, I never spoke about stoning of women. This is what Sarkozy said, because he has a wrong understanding of Islam, because it has nothing to do with women and only women. Stoning is in the classical tradition about men and women. So by referring to me through Sarkozy, it means that you are getting your information wrong, if I may tell you. Be precise and be clear with the facts. Second thing, what I said, and I repeat this, that my understanding of Sharia is not the penal code. Sharia is the way towards faithfulness, it's how to achieve justice and equality in our society with the objectives of protecting human life, promoting justice and freedom. And my position remains. And look at what is happening today around the world, except for these violent extremists that are saying in North Mali, for example, that they were implementing Sharia but cutting hands and killing people. And I said we have to stop. I said it 15 years ago. In the name of Islam, no one can deny that there are texts referring to death penalty, corporal punishment, and stoning. You can't deny that. My position is clear. These texts, we should discuss about them to know what do they say, what are the conditions, in which context. As long as this discussion is not there, we stop everything. I went to Pakistan talking about death penalty when they wanted to have a moratorium. The Muslims in the United States of America are now saying a moratorium on death penalty. What is happening in Turkey? What is happening? So now if you want to be faithful to Islam in Malaysia, by starting by punishing the victims, you are starting with the completely wrong understanding of Islam. You want more Islam in Malaysia? It means less corruption, more justice, more freedom, more equality. Any other discussion is playing with principles, is playing with our religion. No wonder afterward that you have people playing with this. Anyone who is now saying Islam in Malaysia start with al-hudud and punishing, don't get it. That's not us. Islam in Malaysia is more education, more justice, more freedom, less discrimination. Let us start with what is difficult to tackle. And if you want to start with less corruption, start by punishing not the victims, but the leaders. You get me? That's the reality of it. That this is the true way of understanding Sharia today, and this is my position. And I want you, please, if you want to challenge me on this, first, before just listening to the discussion with Sarkozy or 3 minutes on, I wrote about this, radical reform, a whole chapter. On my website, there is a whole article on, please read, stop being involved, because some of your brothers here were not happy with me by understanding what I said through what they heard that somebody said about what maybe I said somewhere in one TV program. And they are shuyukh afterward. You can say kafir. That's not possible. And your last point, and this is a very important point. Because traveling around the world, meeting Muslims, very often, and it's true, you have this expression, preaching to the converts, that at the end the great majority are agreeing. Not all. But that's true that we are talking to. What is important is how do we reach the people? Many of these people who are involved in this, they even think that I am no longer a Muslim, or that I'm distorting Islam, or I'm an apostate. So it's very difficult to reach them. So what we have to do is what is important is to reach audiences and people who can also be mediators in their family on the ground. And this is where all our work is, to reach the people who can reach other people and to do the job. It's a process, but it's quite clear that the only thing that I saw after 30 years, that some of the people who were very extremists, or they were violent, or they were literalists, after years they can come back and they listen and say, oh, I made a mistake. So you're helping the process of changing minds. But we have a problem of reaching out. And this is where it's not going to be lectures like this. The only way forward is for lectures like this, to talk to people who are on the ground and they are reaching and they are doing the job. We are talking to help people to be behaving on the ground. If we are not doing this, we are only talking to one another, and we please ourselves by saying we are so nice and so kind. And we have a brother in humanity coming telling us, you are nice. But it's not going to solve the problem. So this is, I take your question as a call for the responsibility of the audience to translate this into something that has to be visible on the ground. That's the only way forward. And I think that, take it, he was not praising ye. He was calling you to task. That's what we have to do on the ground. That's exactly what we have to do on the ground. How do you reach out? It could happen in your family. It could happen in your neighborhood. It could happen in your mosque. It could happen everywhere in our institutions. We have to be committed and not to judge the people before helping them to get a better understanding. Be patient with your brothers and sisters. Some are so frustrated that they cannot just bear it. It's too difficult. So you have to be involved. You have to talk. And also to make them clear that there are people who are manipulating, people who are behind the scene. Let me end with this story, just for you to be clear on what you also have to say, because it's a dirty business what is happening now, a very dirty business. The people behind the screens are not sincere people. Many of them are playing. Two young brothers were in Morocco and they were attracted by this call for jihad. They went from Morocco with a group in a plane. They were going to Turkey, and from Turkey they were scattered in different groups in Syria. 3 weeks later, they find themselves in the ground fighting against each other. So it means that the people who attracted them had something in mind, and they were playing. It's not a jihad against kuffar and for justice. It's just nurturing violence and extremism. And then they managed to get out from Turkey, coming back in Morocco, and they are in jail now in Morocco. And it's somebody from the Moroccan state who told me this. He said, it's a dirty business. People are attracting our youth. And the only way for us is to be on the ground. It's to be close to the computers. It's to be close to the brothers and sisters and to do the job. You are not going to change this if you don't start being involved at the local level. By your commitment, and please, even in Malaysia, be courageous and committed. And I know that I'm not only talking to Malaysian people, are lots of people coming from Bangladesh, from Turkey, from all the surrounding countries. It's a message for all of us to be committed and to be courageous. And a last thing, don't try to please even the Muslims. Because if you want to please the Muslims, you can't do anything. And even this, you are not going to please them. So the point is, please him, respect yourself, and serve humanity. Wallahu a'lam wa ala wa ahkam wa assalamu alaikum.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Oh, it's a really tough job to stop Professor Tariq Ramadan, since he's addressing a very important question posted by some of the attendees here. Thank you very much. I'm sorry for taking the time too long from you, especially the committees were staring fiercely at me. So I will stop here. Thank you very much. I hand over the session to the chairperson. Thank you very much.
Ya Rasuli, Ya Imami, Ya Syafi'i, Ya Sayyidi, salawatullahi wa salami. Ya Habibi, Ya Khalil.